Hi, everyone. Today we are having Dave from Truscope Ventures. Thank you so much, Dave, for coming. Please let us know who you are, what are you doing at Truscope Ventures, and maybe you can introduce yourself in a couple of sentences.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Malika. Thank you for having me here. My name is David Uhryniak, and I'm the founder of Truscope Ventures. We are an early stage venture firm. We invest in the pre-seed and seed stages of companies in the RWA ecosystem.
Nice. Thank you for your introduction. Since when are you in blockchain, and why and how did you become an expert? You used to work at TRON, right?
That's correct, yeah. I've been in blockchain for over 10 years at this point. So I started out really working on the enterprise side, developing use cases for corporations to apply blockchain to improve their operations, and that evolved to where I was leading ecosystem development at TRON, which probably most people on this call are familiar with. But and then in my role at TRON, I often worked with early stage companies, and I began working as a mentor at different accelerators. And I really enjoy working with the companies. So I wanted to take that further, and I founded Truscope Ventures. Like I said, what we do is we invest in the RWA ecosystem.
Nice, thanks. But 10 years ago, it was long before blockchain was popular, right?
Yes, it was. It was very challenging. I heard a lot of pushback. It was especially from enterprise clients, it would be, we already do this, we don't need this, this doesn't do anything. And then now, it's very interesting to see a few years later, or 10 years later, that those same firms are really aggressively adopting blockchain for a variety of use cases beyond payments.
Interesting, yeah. And why RWA?
I think personally, it's I think it's a very interesting space. And it's such a large space, it goes so much further beyond the headlines that you hear. The headlines are usually a stable coin or, an investment firm tokenizing some products. But I consider that to be the tip of the iceberg. And really, when you move beyond that, the RWA ecosystem includes companies that manage, enable, or develop tokenized real-world assets. And I think there's so much opportunity kind of below the surface there for infrastructure, for security. There's so many companies developing tokenized assets for different types of industries. It really becomes very interesting and in my opinion, filled with opportunity.
Totally, yeah. And which industry of RWA interests you most, like real estate, credit, or?
Yeah, well, we are actually sector agnostic, and we're geography agnostic. So I try to invest holistically, just going with the what I consider to be the most promising project. Now, that being said, I think there's great opportunity in supply chain for tokenization, and that's probably one of my personal favorites. But then payments infrastructure is a very exciting opportunity, and then just all the things that you don't think about, like tokenizing wine and making that investable and tradable. That's really, I think, exciting. And then there's so many things that are still yet to come that it makes the space really, in my opinion, one of the most exciting, one of the most dynamic to participate in.
Yeah. And are there any types of projects that you would avoid?
I don't get too excited about projects that are strictly about financialization of something. I like to see something that is solving a problem, a relevant problem. And that's really what I'm drawn toward. So that's probably where I tend to go versus where I don't tend to look.
Okay, thanks. And what do you think is the biggest myth about tokenizing real world assets?
The biggest myth about it? That's a good question. The biggest myth about it is that I think think that there aren't use cases for it, because I think, when you look at it, you can really create new markets where there never have been before. And I think, we're going to see these new markets develop. And one of the new markets I think that will eventually develop is personal information. All the information that you have out there online right now, I think that market's kind of backwards in that, companies buy and sell personal information without permission of the individual. But I think over time, tokenization will allow power to flow back to the individual as they control their information, right? Because why should someone benefit or profit off of information that they really don't own? And I think that's one of the things that tokenization does. And that's what I think over time you'll see develop.
Thanks. A very interesting point of view. And what kinds of startups or founders do you like to invest in?
I would say it's a wide range. I try not to have a preconceived model or notion of what I want or what I look for in a founder. I think, greatness can come in a variety of forms, and I'm open toward a wide range of different backgrounds and types. I don't think there's a specific model that, has proven to be, all right, this is going to be the most successful type of founder if they have these characteristics. That's just not true. So I remain very open-minded to a variety of situations.
Nice, because my next question would be your criteria for a founder, so you would invest. So let's keep this question. And how do you decide whether to invest from the first meeting to signing a deal?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I try to be very research focused. So I've developed what I think is a very thorough process that I put each new idea through. And it's a multi-stage process that allows me to evaluate different parts of the company through different lenses as I move through, and it enables really the company or the potential investment to be eliminated or confirmed at each stage. And that's really what I'm trying to do. So I like to be very research-oriented, very research-focused, and spend a lot of time on the due diligence of a potential investment. I mean, my background prior to crypto, I was a research analyst for 10 years. And that's really where the foundation of my process was built. So I like to rely on that. And I think, having that process in place really should help to confirm and develop solid conviction as we move through it.
Thanks. Yeah. And how is Truscope Ventures different from another big investment?
Great question. Well, for one thing, we've invested in very early stages. But the second thing is we not only believe in tokenization, the fund itself is tokenized. And that, I think, helps to differentiate us. So when I looked at Truscope Ventures and what I wanted to do and what I wanted to bring to the market, I said earlier, I look for companies that solve problems. And I wanted my own company to solve a problem. So one of the reasons I tokenized the fund is that I wanted to address the issue of liquidity that's so often found in venture investing, right? So, and I wanted to show that, I don't just have, my conviction in the space is very high, and I'm not just there for, the benefits of it. I believe in it, and I wanted that to be reflected in my own company. So I spent the extra time and the extra cost to tokenize the fund, and I think that was the right thing to do. Eventually, and I always say Truscope Ventures is the evolution of venture capital, and that's because we do offer tokenized fund products.
Thanks. And what do most people misunderstand about tokenization?
Probably the risk involved in it, and then probably that you really do need a market for it. There has to tokenizing something is great, but there has to be at least a two-sided market for it to really make it happen and really make it to be relevant for the most part. So that's probably one of the bigger misunderstandings.
Thanks. How do you guys manage risk when investing in early stages or unclear areas?
Great question. And as we construct the portfolio, we like to, one, be able to work closely with the founders. Two, we want to have, we try to have at least a 1.5% stake in a company to just be sure that we're able to have some level of influence. And then I think a big part of that risk comes down to the research process and going through that and understanding what can happen and how we want to manage that. So I think that's really how we are able to manage risk.
Okay, thanks. And what do you think? Is tokenization still mostly talk right now? What has to change for it to become real?
Oh, I think it's definitely real. When you look at the greatest use case for tokenization so far has been stablecoins and tokenized fiat currency, and that's very real. And then you look at what's happening on Wall Street, again, extremely real. But it will extend beyond that. I think another reason why it's so attractive to me is that the use case has been proven and it has strong traction already. And it's going to expand rapidly to sectors beyond financial services. Right. And as it does expand, it creates the need for this infrastructure and ecosystem around it. And that's really, as it has this explosive growth through the next decade, I think it's really going to spotlight these companies that manage, enable, and develop them. And that's really where we're investing.
Yeah, totally. But still, there are so many failed crypto projects, and why? Why should investor believe?
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. There have been a lot of failed crypto projects, but there's always a lot of failed crypto projects. And when you look at the record of VC firms, I was just reading about this the other day. They really have a high number of projects that don't work out. And I think what's happening in the industry now is that it continues to mature. And I'm trying to help it mature by bringing in thorough due diligence processes. Often I get people reach out and they're like, we have, a small allocation left. Can you commit to that? And I think that was probably going on a lot before. But that's not how I invest. I think we're, as an industry, moving away from that. I've been in crypto a long time and going to conferences for forever. And, when you went to some conferences, it was, early on, it was very, it had a feel of Lollapalooza about it, right? If you get that reference. And then over the years, it you started to see more corporations and more suits walking around. And I think that is reflective of the maturation of the sector, and I think that's only going to continue. Not that it becomes boring, let's hope, but I think the things that drove us all or attracted us all to the space to begin with, kind of the independence, the being outside of the norm, those type of things, I hope they continue, but it might be a challenge as it becomes more and more adopted by the mainstream. What's going on right now is something I call the Great Convergence, where financial services and crypto are blending together, and it's no longer blockchain financial services, it's just financial services. And eventually all of business will be like that.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you. What do you think other assets that shouldn't be tokenized?
Assets where there's not a need for it, where they're not, where it just doesn't make sense, where there's not a strong use case. I think anything that's really on chain can be considered to have a case to be tokenized, but really, there's some situations that don't require blockchain. And if it doesn't require a blockchain, it doesn't need to be tokenized.
Okay. Yeah, great answer, I think. Yeah. What's the hardest lesson you've learned as an investor in this industry?
Patience and volatility, and really having the conviction of your ideas and focused on meeting milestones of operational performance versus fluctuations in the market, especially what might be the normal cycles of the market. So it's about making progress operationally and having a good plan and sticking to that plan versus just hoping the token goes up in value or price.
Yeah. And you're a solo founder in this tough space. What's the biggest personal risk you're taking?
The biggest personal risk, I guess that this doesn't work out and my family all leaves me. That would be a big risk, but no, that won't happen. Yeah, I guess that, I'm unable to raise any assets and deploy them effectively. That would be a big risk, and that would not go so well. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that in positive outcomes for both of those.
Okay, and if you could change one thing about the blockchain industry today, what would it be?
I think I want somehow blockchain to remain this area for independence and innovation without becoming commercial and corporatized. I don't know how that happens because I think the crypto community, in my opinion, is an amazing group of people collectively. I love going to the conferences. Everyone is working together and everyone is collaborative, and everyone is very independent. Early on, crypto was like, it was the rebels and the people who wanted something different, but now, and it's inevitable that as it becomes more mainstream, it's going to become more corporatized, and I'm really hoping that there can somehow be maintain some of the early spirit of crypto as it moves mainstream.
And if tokenization becomes mainstream at the end, what would be the next big area you want to explore?
Oh my, I'd have to give that more thought. I don't know. I'm focused really on tokenization right now.
Yeah. Okay. And what would be your dream partnership or co-investment?
You mean in terms of the company?
Yes, sure.
I'm investing in? Something that is an early mover in a space that's not yet completely permeated with blockchain and crypto, doing something novel. I like first movers and I like pioneers, and doing something in industries that haven't really yet adopted these technologies too much. So, I'm always looking for things like that.
Interesting. And what do you wish you had known when you started building your career in the space 10 years ago?
I can relate it to what I'm doing now, and I wish I had known how hard every step is, because it's a challenge, working as a founder, and that's how I see myself. I founded this company, so I'm often I'm pretty much in the same bucket as the companies I'm investing in. On one hand, I think that gives me great understanding, great empathy towards what they're going through. But on the other hand, it's still very challenging, always having, trying to build this new business. So I can really feel for what they're doing. But overall, I think that's probably led to me having a greater empathy and understanding of the founders that I work with.
Thanks. And what keeps you motivated to keep building in such an uncertain space?
Because I've been in it for 10 years, and just the belief that this is the right thing to do.
If people remember only one thing from this talk, what should it be?
Truscope Ventures offers a tokenized fund, and we do that because we want to bring venture capital to the masses eventually. I love that Robinhood is trying to have a publicly traded venture fund. That's one thing I would like to explore further if that gets approved. But right now we're tokenized, and we do that because we want to solve problems, one being liquidity, but one making it more accessible to everyone. So that's what I would like people to remember.
Thank you so much, Dave, for this meeting. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great to talk with you.